Okay, so
This
this guy's project is creating GPT-2 from scratch in C. And I've been following this guy's project, and planning to make this follow this project along, and in C++. And so the current status of my GPT-2 project is what this video is about. And so um, so right now we create GPT-2, we read the safe tensors, and which is the GPT-2 file, and then I colorize the GPT-2 float space, which is all the floats in the GPT-2. I create an image. And so we're going to look at this code, but before that, we're going to look at some of these images. So you run this program. This is an open source project, and it looks like this when it's ran. And it produces images that look like it produces a bunch of images. And so we're going to look at a couple of these real quick. These images are 15 by 8K. So I'm going to zoom in. Okay, this is the maximum zoom of this Windows program. So I'm going to scroll. And so what we're seeing are the various layers inside GPT-2. And as you can see, there's different variety. And then there's also very large, similar sections. Here's a variety. Okay, so let's look at a different image. I'm going to scroll in the same direction. So this is basically what I expected it to look like. And so we're going to go back and just look at a still picture. So it would be interesting to animate this. I think that's what this project is going to be about. It's getting some kind of animation. One aspect of this project. And anyways, so this is the appearance of GPT-2. This is the full appearance. So let's look at the code. So this is main, and then I declare a GPT-2. I read the safe tensors, I float space convert, So read safe tensors. So this GPT2 structure I derived from the source material. And so we have a floats, and then there's this thing called a tensor, and then we have these various types of layers in the GPT-2 network. One's called an MLP, one's called a linear layer, and one's called an attention layer. And the MLP is a series of tensors. All these layers are a series of tensors, or other attention layers has two linear layers in an MLP, and then a series of tensors. So then there's the float space, all the floats, and then there's two more tensors, and then there's a linear layer, final layer, and there's 12 attention layers total. So reading these in, the first thing done is to read file. It gets a header. The header is a JSON file. So parse the JSON, and then proceed to read the data segment of the file using the JSON references. So to read the file, you need to have the correct file path, and this file from Hugging Face. And so the header is read, the size of the header is read, and then the header is read based on the size, and that's a bunch of JSON. And then the rest of the file is the data, and that is read into the float space. So the float space is one big vector of floats, and that's what we just viewed, was the float space. So then it goes down to, it starts reading these tensors in from the data, the JSON. So read tensor by name, weights, there's different kinds of names for the various layers. And an attention layer is a bunch of different tensors and linear layers and MLP tensors, and all of these resolve back to this function, read tensor by name. So it gets the JSON object, it reads the data offsets, it gets their information, it creates a tensor view at the float space. This is a tensor view into the float space based on these offsets A and B, and then it extracts the shape information, which contains the dimensions. So then a tensor object is created now based on the dimensions. Construct the tensor object, and they all have an expected size. So this tensor object can be four-dimensional, 1 to 4-dimensional. Okay, that is all of the current project. And so based on that, read safe tensors, inflow space colorize. That is will produce all of this. So I'm making more videos based on this guy's work, Raff K.